I am talking about having the mindset of a person who understands that as long as you are living and breathing, there's more for you to learn. I love to tell people what we focus on expands. And so when we focus on problems, that's why they seem to get bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And when we focus on opportunities and possibilities, they actually become endless, right? If you want to move and transition in your career, you got to own that. You got to own
Mm.
that space.
Hello, listeners, and welcome back to the Science of Self, where you improve your life from the inside out. I'm excited to introduce to you today another guest, Dr. Carmen Bell-Ross, or conversationally, Dr. Carmen, who's going to take a minute, introduce herself, and then we'll get into the conversation. Doctor?
Hi, thank you so much. I'm so excited to be here and talk to you today, Russell. Yes, I am Dr. Carmen. That's what most people call me. And my company is SP Grace. And what we really do is leadership, career, and professional development solutions in government, business, and industry. But what we're really excited about is the work that we're doing with individuals on a more personal level. We're working with middle school, high school students, but also, this is the stuff we do with people throughout their entire careers to help them to navigate to the next level. So I'm really excited about being here. My background is in educational psychology largely, also business management, but I integrate all of that, and that all is the lens through which I see the world. So I'm really excited to talk to you all today.
I'm looking forward to a great conversation. Uh, let's start out with SP Grace. I was interested to see that you founded the company, made a name change as you expanded some of your business, and then
Mhm.
brought on a pretty important partner into your business. Is that correct?
I did. I absolutely did. My most valuable partner, most valuable player is my partner, my mom. It is for me a dream come true to be able to have her as a partner. She has been my lifelong confidant and advisor, and I trust her, and she's very knowledgeable and experienced in this space. So for me, being able to do this work was the realization of a dream. So I'm really excited about having her as my partner.
And you're both doctors, correct?
Yes.
Can you
But
tell us
we are
about your
what
educational background of both of you, just so we have an idea?
Sure, I always tell people, okay, we're talking doctors. We're not prescribing doctors. So just so you know, don't give me a prescription pad because I might write something on it. I'm not qualified for that, but I might write
Maybe so.
Um, but in any case, my educational background in undergrad, I did, let's see, what did I major in? Spanish and International Studies. And
Oh,
then I
wow.
got my master's degree in educational psychology with an emphasis on instructional design and educational technology. And then I did my first doctoral program in educational psychology with an emphasis on continuing professional education for adults at work. And then I did my second doctoral program in management and leadership. And so, yeah, I apparently like to go to school and take out lots of loans. Um, and my mom's background, I can't remember what her undergraduate degrees were in, but I do know that she eventually got into English language and literature, and so she moved into that space. But she's been working in professional education for. She told me to stop at 25 years. That's all I can say at this point. But you can just put a little plus after that.
25 plus years of
Yes,
experience.
yes,
And that brings a lot, but personally and professionally, what a great opportunity
yeah,
for you to have that continuing relationship in a different viewpoint
yeah.
with your mother. That's commendable. Congratulations on that.
Thank
Um,
you.
you mentioned continuing education, and that's I feel might be an area where some of our listeners fall. You know, that most of us are not looking at college admissions one way or the other, but continuing education again. This is I tend to focus on this, but things that apply in one area apply in all.
Absolutely.
Is is continuing education for young adults, early career professionals?
Mhm.
How similar do you find it in working with them to a high school student or a college age student? Are there huge differences? I know from the education side, you might prepare a lesson differently. But from the
Right.
personal side, how do you value or how do you change your approach between dealing with one versus the other? Is that a
Well, I'm going to say this. So there are official definitions for continuing professional education, and then there's my definition. Okay. So
okay?
we're going to go with my definition, which is having
Okay,
the
give us the professional, give us the actual one first, and then go with yours and run with it for us.
when people talk about continuing professional education, they are talking about formal, structured educational opportunities that, for example, if you are a licensed practitioner of something, you may have to have continuing professional education hours. So if you're a nurse, you have to go back and take additional classes so many hours a year. Or if you are even a plumber, you have to get licensing and you have to continue to get basically, they want to know that you've stayed on top of your craft and your field because they evolve. And so that's more in the formal space. When I say it, I am talking about having the mindset of a person who understands that as long as you are living and breathing, there's more for you to learn. As long as you are here, there are new people born into this world every single day, which means that there's something new, there's somebody new. There's a new way of moving, operating, and existing in the world. And there's an opportunity for you to learn more, even in areas where you are an expert. So sometimes when people kind of get to a place where they think they have expertise in something or they have expertise in something, it's easy to kind of rest on that and say, I already know because I've got a lot of experience and I have a lot of formal knowledge or whatever the case may be. But the reality of it is that everything changes all the time. So when I talk about continuing education, I'm talking about having the mindset of a lifelong learner, having the mindset that there's always more to know about the world around you, the people around you, but also about yourself because you're changing in ways that you may not even realize every day.
You caught me typing in the as you finished the sentence. I apologize for that. But you said lifelong learner, which
Mhm.
listeners, oddly enough, is the title of one of the books from that we feature in the podcast regularly from Peter Hollins. How to be a lifelong learner, skills that are important there. So I just found it interesting that you mentioned that phrase. Growth mindset you talked about. You're familiar with Carol Dweck and her studies.
Yes.
Uh,
Like low level familiar, but familiar, generally familiar.
yeah, I've not read the actual studies, but I've read reports about articles that were reviews about the study, maybe several degrees removed, so that I could understand basically what was going on. Can you
Sure.
tell us? Your very growth mindset is very important, so maybe we can spend a little bit of time here.
Right.
From your viewpoint, can you just give us the concept of the growth mindset and the what is the opposite? What's the second one? I apologize.
That's
It's growth.
interesting.
What is it?
That's an interesting question, actually, I think, because I've never had anyone ask me what's the opposite of that. And so, what I will tell you is when I talk to people, I encourage them to have the mindset that you're always growing and developing and changing. And there are opportunities for you to continue to increase your knowledge and increase your understanding of our very complex world, right? And so, when I get concerned is when I get to a person who is on some level there might be a little bit of arrogance there, right? On some level there's a mindset that I already know what I need to know. That's a little bit concerning for me, people who are not open to changing or open to different perspectives because they're so rooted and grounded in they dig in on their own viewpoint or their own lens through which they view the world. And so there's nothing wrong with considering other perspectives and other ways of looking at things and still deciding that you're still good with the way that you looked at it before. But for a person who's not even open to considering that there are other ways of looking at things, doing things, that's concerning to me because it also impacts their ability to be in healthy relationship with other people. So that's maybe what I would think of as the opposite of that. There's a level of arrogance that we might not even realize is there, and so I think there's a healthy space of healthy humility, right, that allows you to be open to continuing to grow and learn. And you'd be amazed at what opens up. I love to tell people what we focus on expands. And so when we focus on problems, that's why they seem to get bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And when we focus on opportunities and possibilities, they actually become endless, right? And so I prefer that view of the world. I prefer the view of the world that says the opportunities, the possibilities for my life and for who I am and for my next step and my next phase are actually endless. And I think that's when you are in a space where you're open to real growth. And so, being a person who's not able to see through that lens, I think that can be very limiting.
How would a person identify themselves? Do you think there's a blind spot for people that don't have a growth mindset to recognize that there actually is such a thing as a growth mindset? Um,
Mhm.
it's kind of seeing outside maybe their worldview that something is different. How would I evaluate? Are there questions I could ask myself? Am I stuck? I guess your whole life would seem to be stuck in a rut if there was nothing to meet, nothing to learn, no room to improve or areas to expand into.
Yeah. So here's the thing, we all have blind spots. You know why? Because we only see the world through the lens that we can see the world through, right? We only see ourselves through the lenses that we can see ourselves through. And so just being able to acknowledge, yes, I am human. And so therefore, by default, I've got some blind spots somewhere. I encourage you to ask questions of people who you admire. Somebody who is in your space, who knows you well, who you admire, ask them like, hey, do you think that I'm open-minded, or how open do you think I am to seeing things differently? Or ask them some open-ended questions about you and how you engage. Not asking them, am I great? Because nobody wants to tell you, no, you suck, right? Nobody wants to tell you, well, there are
Some
people that
people
want
would.
to tell you that. Those might not be the people that you should even keep in your inner circle, really. But in any case, but being able to ask someone who you really admire, then ask someone who admires you, right? Just to get a different perspective. Ask someone who is in your space often. Ask someone who is a person with whom you engage, but not necessarily in your day to day space. Get some different perspectives on how you move. You might be surprised that the way other people see you and the way they see the way that you think and engage with them is very different than the way you think they do. You might be surprised.
That's a very strong point. The whole concept of the lens through which we view things, what reality is, and what we perceive as reality is really fundamental to understanding where we have, as you say, blind spots or where our cognitive view is different from what reality is. And we try to make the map the reality. And the map is not the world. The world is the world, the map is the map. And there's some truth between the two, but not, you don't want to confuse one for the other.
Yeah.
You mentioned asking someone, am I open minded? And the listener that said, well, I'm not going to ask anybody that, because is probably the one that needs to be asking the most questions like that, and you open themselves up some, maybe a little bit. If
Yeah.
you, yeah,
It's
no, maybe we'll leave it
scary
at there
though.
before.
Yeah, it's
Say that again.
scary though. It's
It is.
scary though, to because you are vulnerable. When you ask someone to tell you about yourself, you don't necessarily know the answers, right? As a
Mhm.
general rule, I love to only ask the questions where I think I know the
You
answers.
know the answer.
Yes, because there's a certain amount of courage that comes along with saying, I don't know the answer. I have no idea what the answer may be, and I may not even be prepared for what this answer may be. I don't feel that courageous all the time, but sometimes I do. And when I'm feeling more courageous, I ask those kinds of questions because I don't know the answers, and I am interested to get a perspective that's not my own. Right. And so, you have to sometimes you have to kind of psych yourself into it.
Definitely. Yeah, there's some mental preparation that needs to be done. And even to ask yourself that question,
Hmm.
uh, it's easy to gloss over and say, am I okay? Am I doing this right? Yeah, I'm okay. But
Hmm.
there's that fear there, even for self revelation, that
Yeah.
you don't really want to know the truth sometimes.
Yeah. And open-ended questions tend to be good, again, with the people that you ask, but you need to ask people you trust too, right? People who have your best interest at heart. And so you're not looking for someone who wants to just tell you about yourself. right? So you want someone who respects the question and who cares about you and who cares about your well-being and your self-improvement and who is going to give you feedback that is constructive and not
Very
just going
good.
to tear you down. I don't need that. The world is mean. When I leave my house and I deal with the world, like the world can be mean. I don't need the people who are in my happy space to bring more of that to me. Right? I get enough of that in the world. You need to be a place of peace and welcome for me. So I'm not asking you any questions about myself that might make me feel bad about myself, but the questions that can help me to grow. And, honestly, even with me, I've had people to give me feedback, people who I care about, who gave me feedback that I initially completely disagreed with. I
Mm.
completely disagreed with their assessment of my own behaviors. And then I had to take a step back. And it sometimes takes me a few days to say, don't be so arrogant that you can't hear what someone else is telling you. Consider it. Do you maybe do that? Do you maybe dismiss other people's ideas when you initially think it bumps up against something that is completely contrary to your values, or completely contrary to something you have decided is a firm truth? And the reality of it is, that's a challenge for me that I didn't realize existed. So when you talk about blind spots, someone else pointed that out to me. And it was somebody I cared about. And I was actually kind of ticked off at first. I was ticked off and offended. But but I did consider it and I realized, you know what? I need to at least be aware, like pay attention to when I might be doing that. Yeah.
Because that person has lenses as well, so what they say may not be completely accurate. Hopefully, it's completely honest. But
Yeah.
yeah, there's no benefit in completely tearing down somebody or completely just probably using the term incorrectly, gaslighting them. If someone asks you an honest question, it's not if you don't like them, there's no point in just telling them how bad they are.
No.
And if you like them or appreciate your relationship between them, there's really no point in just going on a praise fest and not being honest with something that you see, and that can be difficult with someone where you value the relationship.
Absolutely. And I think when you're talking to people who you trust and who you want to help you, if you tell them, listen, I am working on myself in this area, I want to grow in this area, I want to move up in my career, I want to do things differently. Perhaps I'm not in a job that I love. Perhaps I'm not in the career that excites me when I wake up. And so I'm trying to move closer to that. And I'm looking to get insight on some of my blind spots. I'm looking to get insight on some areas that maybe I could work on. Let me tell you something. Having worked in leadership for so long, I often see that people get promoted to leadership because they're good at their job. Leadership is not the same as whatever skill you may have that makes you good at your job. If you're good at building seats and you are the best person in the world at building seats, and then I work in the auto industry a lot, so that's what my brain went to. But
Okay.
and then you get promoted because you're the best person at building seats, and they say now you're over 60 seat builders, right? That's a different skill set. Leadership is not the same. It is not the same. And so people get frustrated sometimes when they get promoted to one level of leadership and then they get stuck because they want to go further and they can't understand why other people are given opportunities over them. But that's a blind spot, right? Because you haven't necessarily asked the right kinds of questions, like how good are you at engaging with people? How good are you at listening? How good are you at being empathetic? How good are you at showing people that you are authentic in your communications? And how good are you at mediating conflict? And all these other things that come along with being a people leader. And believe it or not, people who don't work with you can give you insight on that. It doesn't have to be somebody who works with you or works for you or who is your boss. This could be a friend who tells you something about kind of how you engage interpersonally with other people that can give you insight that's helpful on your own leadership development journey. Nobody else is responsible for your journey. I don't care what perks and benefits your job offers, or what kind of training they might say they can give you. If you want to move and transition in your career, you got to own that. You got to own
Mm.
that space and you have to own that process because it is unique to you. And yes, of course, if somebody is giving you a bunch of money to be able to do that, to go to conferences and all that, that's great. But it doesn't require that. Like we have resources that can help us. People who are logging into your podcast, people who are, able to look online. Listen, Chat GPT might even give you some great insights. Like, you know, um, you got to own that journey. And you'd be amazed at, again, when you focus on that, if that's what you want to do, the opportunities start to open up. You start to see them differently. They get bigger.
Yeah, ChatGPT doesn't come up too often in our conversations, but when you build a large language model off the all the available literature in the world, there's some wisdom in there.
Mhm.
Of course, you have to realize that there's also some really bad literature included in those models, most likely, and you never know which one's going to get put back on your screen. So you uh,
And
have to be
ChatGPT
very
will
careful
lie
with
to
that.
you. Yeah, ChatGPT will
Oh,
lie to you because it wants to please you. But let me be clear.
absolutely.
When you're prompting it properly, it can at least give you good questions to ask yourself, right? So ask it, what should I ask myself as I'm on my leadership development journey or as I'm on my professional career journey and I'm looking to move forward? Like, what are some things I might want to ask myself? What are some things I might want to ask people around me? So it's useful for things like that, right? It's useful for giving you guidance on personal development in a lot of ways, believe it or not, just even in helping to prompt your own thinking.
But yeah, you're exactly right. It will lie to you because it's a research tool or however you want to phrase it, but it's also there's some marketing involved there. And if you don't enjoy interfacing with the model,
Yeah,
then you're not going to come back to it. So that's a good point. Um,
absolutely.
Open-ended questions. Let's stay kind of in this topic for a minute because they're very important.
Yeah.
But I'd like to turn this scenario around a little bit. When I know for personal development, I should ask open-ended questions. I should seek advice. I should look for my own blind spots. But when someone comes to me,
Mhm.
and this is kind of a two-pronged question, when it's turned the other way around, I think your background has some specific insight that could help us in dealing with people that are coming to us for, I don't want to say advice, but for insight, just for a true and honest conversation. Uh,
Mhm.
and also from the educational side of things, I was told in my college career, in getting ready to teach, a teacher doesn't know everything, but a teacher should be able to find out anything. Uh,
Mhm.
I don't know how
Interesting.
true that. I kind of like that. I thought it was
Yeah.
pretty good because I could tell my students I don't know, but I'll let you know tomorrow what that answer is. Um,
Mhm.
so when someone comes to you with a question like that, what are
Mhm.
some things that we should keep in mind as we deal with others in that relationship? Trying to be helpful, trying to be honest, but trying not to be hurtful.
Sure. So, one, there's nothing wrong with you telling somebody, you know what? I would really, I want to answer that. Let me think about that a little bit, and
Very good.
then get back to you. Because the urge, to just respond right away is not going to always give us the best insight, and we kind of ramble and we kind of are searching for our thoughts, and then later on we might think of things. So there's nothing wrong with saying, give me a pause on that because I think that's a great question, and I want to be able to give you some helpful insight.
That's
So then
excellent.
that gives you time to think about what you would like to share with the person. And then ask yourself some of the feedback that you want to offer. Is this something that can be changed, right? Or is it something that can be changed in a reasonable time period? So, it's the kind of thing, if you think of it kind of in really simple terms, if you're out with a friend and the friend has let's say something in their nose, tell them like there's something in your nose. You know why? They can fix that and they can fix it right now. So go ahead and they can go to the restroom. That's a quick fix, right? But if you're out with a friend and you notice that, let's say, the back of their pants are see through, or that, you know what I mean? Like,
Right.
think about,
Right.
is this something that can be fixed right now? If they're in a situation where they're about to go on stage, do you point it out right now? like it's not going to be helpful. It's going to make them not be confident, and it's going to make them now be distracted. So, you know, you have to think about it. If their pants are see-through and they're going into, a meeting that starts in 30 minutes, hey, dude, you might want to put a jacket around your waist or whatever. Like you have an opportunity to do something. So when you're giving someone any kind of feedback, think about, can they actually change it? Like if you're telling a woman, yeah, that's going to happen because you're a woman, that's not real helpful. 'Cause she can't, you know what I mean? Like, so like what am I supposed to do with that feedback today? Right. If you're telling her, hey, because you are a woman and you might want to consider that other people are looking at it this way and dot, that might be different, maybe. But, you know, and also think about, why are you giving them this feedback? Is it because you just really have always wanted to tell them this about themselves because it's irritating to you and because you don't like it? Or are you giving them this feedback because you think that if they have this understanding or this insight, it can change something really beneficial for them, not for you, for them, right? And so I think a lot of it is questioning our own motivations. Why would you tell them that? And if the reason you would tell them that is something to benefit them, go for it. If the reason you would tell them that is that you just think they need to be told, then you probably should take a step back for a moment.
Very nice. Yes. Excellent points there. To take a moment to think about it, come back to the question at a later time after you've processed and have a good answer. Uh, is it something that can be addressed immediately? Very good. I hope the listeners got those points and pay attention to those. That's some great advice. You Are you familiar with the book The Peter Principle? This is reaching back to the 70s.
No,
Um,
I'm
this
not.
so this is dating me, which is fine. Um, the Peter Principle, and you've almost quoted the Peter Principle verbatim.
Oh, wow.
Uh, and really, this is one of the most influential books personally in my life. This was back in the time with Zig Ziglar and Maxwell Maltz and some of those, which I mention here, but most people are not studied up on. But the Peter Principle says people, to paraphrase, people rise to their own level of incompetence,
Oh, yeah. Mhm,
which is exactly what you alluded to. So I'd like to go back to that a little bit because it applies personally, it applies business wise, it applies educationally as well, uh, in a lot of different areas. So the idea that because, uh, as you said, you excel in one area, I do a great job building seats
mhm,
to keep with your example. Then eventually, because I stick around at a company for a while, I'm going to be a supervisor or a team lead or perhaps a manager over those seat builders.
mhm.
And at that point, you might be stuck. But at that point, you might not be stuck. So it's a great concept until you start looking at, which causes organizations just to expand their org chart as people move up, might get to manager, director, VP, but at some point, everybody except the C and maybe even the CEO, you get to a point where you can no longer perform. You can't be promoted.
Mhm,
So all you can do is move laterally.
mhm.
So that's the Peter Principle in a real crude summary. But you alluded to it exactly. It's something you've come across. Obviously, you know about it. Um, and I could go on and on about managing and management tools and the concepts there
Sure.
related to it. But maybe that's a conversation for a different podcast. But I just wanted to mention the Peter Principle because it's so in line with what you just said.
Yeah. And you know what I do? It's funny when you said like there's a point at which people can't, they kind of get stuck. And it's interesting because I think at this stage in my own career, I think about all this striving that we do. I want to go higher. I want to go higher. I want to go higher. And we don't necessarily always stop to ask ourselves the why, right? Why do we want to go higher? Well, I want to go higher because I want to be a director. Okay. Why do you want to be a director? Well, I want to be a director because I want to be in charge of people. Why do you want to be in charge of people? Like sometimes once you ask yourself, you know how they talk about the five whys, like once you dig deep enough, sometimes you might realize like maybe that's not exactly what I really, really want. Right. And that's one of the things I do with young people when I'm talking to them about their next steps in their lives and in their careers. A lot of people don't really have adult conversations with young people. I know you used to teach high school, so you know high school students. Listen, they are told, kids are told what to do their entire lives. Like you have to go to, the government tells you you've got to go to school, right? You have to learn something. You've got, your parents tell you what time you're supposed to eat, what time to go to bed, da, 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 da. Then you get somewhere in your mid-teens and you've made no major decisions and somebody says, "What do you want to do with the rest of your life?" What?
Oh, I
Like,
know.
right, wait, what? You just told me I had to have salmon for dinner. What are you talking about? I don't want salmon, but you just told me I have to have it. So now you're asking me, what do I want to do with the rest of my life? Honestly, I know people who are, in their 40s and 50s who really are asking the same, like, I don't know what I want to do with the rest of my life. And so it's really interesting because I'm always saying why. Ask yourself the whys, because once you get to the root of that, that helps you to figure out what's really important to you as a human. What is it that is bringing you joy? What is it that makes you feel like your life is fulfilling? What excites you in the morning? What gets you up out of bed? And, what are those things? And even for young people, we ask the questions a little differently. What do you want to do when you grow up? I don't know. They come up with stuff that sounds nice. And then they go off to college and they, major in stuff that will appeal to their parents or will appease whoever they're trying to impress or whatever. We do that without really taking the time to dig into the core of the person. Like who we are on some level is cemented when we're super young, like who we are. And
Right.
so now, how do you take that, the essence of you, the core of you, the part that makes you special and unique in the world because you were created to be special and unique and make a unique contribution to the world? How do you tap into that sooner so that you can make everything else line up? How do you do that so that if you do go into your career and you decide to move into leadership, it just makes sense for who you are. It just makes sense for what's important to you and what makes you get excited every day. But we make a lot of decisions even as more mature adults and more mature spaces in our careers that are not aligned with that. They're aligned with either trying to impress people or just focused on making money, or because you know what, I never thought about it, this is the path I'm on, so I'm just going to stay on it, or because it sounds nice, it's the logical next. We make decisions that way. And so what if you could tap into that so much sooner in your life and make things line up? Your whole life path would be so much more gratifying for you.
You mentioned the five whys.
Hmm.
Excuse me. Uh, and I think it ties in with what I understand to be kind of the core of your um, approach to helping people in career or in education.
Hmm.
And then, so the five whys are designed to get past the fluff answers, the pat answers, and get down to understanding what so many of our podcast episodes come back to really at about this time of the podcast is
Hmm.
that those internal reasons. Why do you value, well, first of all, what do you value?
Hmm.
Why do you value those things? Are you being true to those values? And then how do you express those values throughout your life and throughout your attitudes, your relationships? Is that fair to say that that's right into the ballpark with your approach to developing people, whether they're leaders or students?
Sure. So part of what we do with young people who are applying to college, because college is really competitive. Getting into competitive universities is that much more competitive. It's hard, and you always hear people say, "Oh, my kid had a 4.0, and they were the like, the leader of the student government," and da 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 da. Da. They go on and on about their accolades, and yet they still didn't get admitted to, you name that, school, right? And the reality of it is that you're competing with a whole bunch of people whose kids got 4 point pluses and, who are the leaders of whatever and who have all these great resumes that are really strong. But the reality of it is that when you have a landscape that's littered with everybody with the same playbook, with the same kind of official story, The ones that stand out are the ones that are more in tune with who they are. They're more aligned. They just
Mm.
make more sense. And so, a central part of the work that we do, especially with young people, because it's a little bit different working with them than it is working with a more mature adult who is further along in their career. It's a little bit different. But at the end of the day, what we're doing is we're tapping into those parts of you that make you unique. Why do you do what you do? What does it matter? And how is this valuable to you and to the world? Because your unique story is important and it's interesting. No matter how boring you think it is, it might seem boring to you because it's your life. Like it's your day to day, it's your norm, right? But the reality of it is somebody else doesn't know your story. Nobody has lived your exact life. Nobody makes the choices exactly the way that you do, and that has taken you on the path that you're on. And your path is of value. Even if it's just sharing how you made mistakes and what you've learned from those and how you move to the next space. And I think it's so important for people to realize how valuable they are individually. Like, okay, maybe you're disappointed in yourself or in some of the choices you've made along the way. Maybe, when I'm talking to young people, maybe your grades weren't what you think they should be. Why aren't your grades what you think they should be? What kind of led you to that? What could be different? What is your story? Your story is good enough. And I'm going to tell you, when you tap into your story and who you really are, whether you're applying to a job or a university, you want to be somewhere where they value your story because you don't want to just be somewhere where you chose them. You want them to choose you too. It needs to be a good fit all around. If your story sounds weird or wonky to them, you might get there and feel like I'm out of place. This is not my kind of folks, right? But being able to really tap into your uniqueness and realizing that there is real value in even your disappointments, in the things that you've learned. You're learning something new every day. Every mistake that you've made, you've learned something. And if you haven't, take a moment and think about it. What could I have learned? What's now different, or what is better, or what will I not do again and why? Right. So, understanding that when you can tap into that, that is what will help you to be in alignment in whatever your next step is.
I know there's not real a list of quick hits necessarily, but when you're dealing with an individual who has some of those, not understanding themselves, what their values are there some further pieces of advice? Obviously, self-reflection is important, and just plain old self-acceptance. Yeah, I screwed up. What can I learn from that?
Mhm.
Rather than, I almost want to ask if you have a um, we want quick answers. Do you have a web page I can look at that gives me the things that I need to do to be more self-aware? It doesn't work that way, though, unfortunately, does it?
It does not work that way. So this goes back to my whole chat GPT thing, right? So
Great.
you can ask it questions to ask yourself. But I also am a big advocate for talk therapy. There are people who are trained to help you find these kinds of insights for yourself. There are people who you can trust who cannot talk about what you share.
Due to difficulties, the remainder of the program is incomplete. We present the video and audio as possible and apologize for the disruption.
Tell us about your daughter.
So, my daughter is a junior at Harvard. She is majoring in neuroscience, and she is the captain of their competitive dance team. And she is an overall happy person. She has lots of great friends, and she does lots of exciting things. She volunteers at a place where they teach children with Down syndrome. She teaches them sign
Wow.
language to help them communicate if they're nonverbal. So she's teaching the kids and the
Wow.
parents sign language, and she is currently decided that she wants to try out emergency medicine. So this summer she's getting her EMT license to work on the ambulance. I said, "Why would you do that?" I'm like, "That just sounds really dangerous." And like, you can get into med school without doing this. And she goes, "No, mom, but every day is a great day to save lives, and I just want to do it." So she's just a great person. I love the person that I raised, not because she's accomplished and she's on this great path. She's doing research. She's like doing research on mouse brains and she's going to be published in some academic journals and stuff like that. But I love that she's a good person who I actually really like as a human. So, you can't ask people about their
Well,
kids. We just go on and on and on and on, Russell. We get excited.
absolutely. Congratulations to her and to you.
Thank you.
That's a lot of work to parent anybody. And when someone is that well adjusted and that successful, there's a lot of things that have to come back to their childhood and how they were raised, the way they were taught to make decisions. So many things involved there. So that's great to hear. Now, she's enrolled in Harvard, so obviously you are very familiar with the process, and that's part of your business approach. Did you do this before? Was your business involved in this before you went through it? I'm assuming you were very involved with her admissions to Harvard, or was it something that developed after seeing the process?
So, actually, about 15 years ago, I was working for a company that they do like staff and it's a global brand that people know, right? And I was in their speakers bureau, so I would travel to high schools and colleges talking to students about what to do for their next step in high school or college and career, right? So the whole goal was to help them get off to a great, strong start. And what I learned from that experience, particularly when it comes to the college admissions landscape and the things that I was talking to them about at that time, which was based on the research that this company did and the survey data they had from thousands and thousands and thousands of their employer partners. They had a great program. And what I realized then was you have to have a strategy for this thing. This is not the same admissions process that I went through 30 years ago, right? This is very, very different. And so I started to see that. And at that time, I decided I need a strategy for my kid so that we can shape her path all the way to college. And it wasn't about Harvard for me. It was about I want her to have all the choices that make sense for who she is. I want her to be happy and whole and into a career that gives her joy. And I want her to be able to call the shots and her to be empowered to decide what's next. I didn't want her to feel limited by the options she thought she had. And so, from that point, I started there. And it was really strictly about me helping her to navigate that space. And then, of course, the work that I do with the company and career and professional development and leadership development, we have companies that call us, that say, "Hey, our people don't know how to treat people. Come help," right? Or they say, "Our teams don't work well together. Come help." Or so I'm hearing from employers and companies all the time about some of the biggest people challenges and some of the biggest obstacles that they're facing, and so I'm always providing solutions for that. And so, really integrating all of that with my own belief system, my own study of educational psychology, which is really the study of learning and motivation, and it extends beyond the classroom. I created this unique lens that I have, right? And so over the years, I worked with students as a volunteer. I've worked with any number of youth development programs just to help students to navigate this space and think about what's next for them. And I also worked with my daughter's friends, and I was like, there's a better way to do this than to be stressed out. Like all these parents are stressed out, and they're stressing their kids out. You were a high school teacher. They start stressing their kids out. They don't mean to, they mean well. They want the best for them. But everybody is adding to the pressure and it's unnecessary. There is a way to strategically maneuver through this system. And so that's what I came up with. My College Smarter method is really about saying, how do we do getting into college smarter? And then how do you do college smarter? Right. So it's about creating a unique playbook that is aligned with the person, who the person is, what the person loves, what the person is passionate about. In this case, person means young person. But the method actually makes sense for college, career, and beyond. And so that's the reason ours is the long game, because even now, my daughter, she's doing all these extraordinary things, but she does not need to call me to say, "Hey, what should I do now?" Because along the way, I equipped her with what she needed to be able to find opportunities for herself and to be able to see where something is lined up with her and where something isn't, so that she gets back her time. So she has time to do all the things that are meaningful for her because she's not doing the things that she thinks somebody else needs her to do to be impressive. Why do that? Why spend your life that way? Like, I'm giving parents back their lives. I'm giving students back their lives. Like, have a great experience with your kids before they leave home, whatever their next step is. Why not enjoy those last years? Because once they graduate from high school, whether they're going to trade school, college, or starting career, like in their minds, they're adults. They're going to call you when they're hungry, when they need some more food, when they want, when they want money for something, when they feel stuck and lost. But our role as parents has to evolve and we become consultants. And that's hard for us to accept. We're consultants, not, directors. And really just helping them to get on the path that makes sense. So why not enjoy that time? Like, this is precious time, and you can enjoy it and still get the results.